Hey, shalom, shalom, everybody. How y'all doing? Welcome back. Welcome back to Reading with Shilo. We're about to get it in. All right, there we go. A lot better. We're about to get it in with chapter 23, man. Chapter 23 of Created to Be His Helpmeet by Proverbs 31. Are you a Proverbs 31 woman? Or claim to be? Aspire to be? Yeah. So let's see what Miss Debbie Pearl has to say concerning the Proverbs 31 woman. What does she have to say concerning this woman? Because I know the Bible says a lot about a Proverbs 31. Proverbs 31, chapter 23. Proverbs 31:10. Who can find a virtuous woman? Who can find this woman? Her price is far above rubies. Keywords: far above, rare, uncommon, unusually excellent, unique, precious, matchless. A good woman is virtuous. A good woman is virtuous. Proverbs 31 is a record of a king reflecting back on some important things that his mother had taught him. He called this wisdom. The prophet said his mother taught him. His mother admonished him to refrain from certain lewd women. She warned him of the evil of the use of alcohol and how it would pervert the king's judgment. She encouraged him to speak for the man who cannot speak for himself, and to plead the case of the poor and needy. Then his mother expressed her concerns that he find a good woman for a wife. She started by telling him that a virtuous woman is rare and precious, and so he would know what to look for. She described at length how a really good woman spends her time and what she gets accomplished. It was as if she were telling her son, who would soon be king, "You will know her, son, by what she does. You will know her by what she does." A good woman is a doing woman. All the key words in Proverbs 31 are action words. She is a creative merchant. She is a worker. Almost every verse describes daily chores or a new enterprising task she is involved in. No one, not even her enemy, would call this woman lazy or slothful. She is diligent in her work, both when it is convenient and when she does not feel like working. In the end, it is this woman's work that speaks of her worth. How does God rate one woman good and the next wife bad? The opposite of diligence is slothfulness, and he also that is slothful in his work is brother to him that is a great waster. Proverbs chapter 18, verse 9. A great waster is a loser. A slothful woman is wasteful by not taking care of things in a timely manner, therefore causing her goods to be damaged. A slothful woman wastes her time and often the time of her friends. A lazy woman puts off a job saying it can be done tomorrow. God chose to add to his written word the description of a virtuous woman so we would clearly know one when we meet her. The portrait painted here is of this good woman, whom God says is worth much more than priceless jewels, far above the value of the average wife, is that of a diligent worker. A virtuous woman is busy doing constructive activities. She explores business opportunities. She is saving money, making money, and investing money. I came to greatly admire this woman as I studied through her day-to-day activities. I stopped and asked myself over and over, what could I start doing that would make me more of an active helpmeet for my husband? An active helpmeet, man. What is your worth? Because so many women holler about they know their worth. I know my worth. I know it. Is your worth far above rubies? That is the question. Is your worth far above rubies? Or is your worth that of some aluminum foil, something that can be had from any dollar store, from any Dollar Tree, corner store, or is your worth far above that of rubies? What is your worth? Proverbs 31:10 tells us that a virtuous woman is worth far more than rubies. Are you worth more than precious stones? To God, of course, you are. But we are not talking theology. Proverbs 31 tells us that a certain woman engaged in particular activities is worth more than rubies. And it gives us a list of things we as women can do to increase our worth in ways that everyone will appreciate. Christian psychology tells us that if we are alive and breathing, we are of great value, and that we just need to believe that. Think positively, and something good will happen to us. In contradiction to positive thinking, Proverbs 31 gives us a list of positive actions that will raise our worth. Positive actions compared to positive thinking. Not just our self worth, but our real worth. Self worth that is based on actual worth is real worth everyone can see. What is amazing, and contrary to popular conservative thinking, is that the worth of the virtuous woman is largely based on her cottage industry and investments, producing extra income for the family. Wow, who teaches that? But it is true. Sure, the chapter also mentions that she is kind, generous, and gracious, but the character of is related in the context of her business ventures. This is a remarkable piece of information. During my lifetime, which has been long, the ladies who are the busiest, most successful, the most happily married, and who have the best behaved children are ladies who fill their lives with profitable activities, doing things that save money, time, and energy for the family's welfare or that generate additional income for the family. It's time to step up. Proverbs 31 is my favorite subject in this book. I love to see a woman discover her real worth by spreading her wings and making a contribution to her family's finances. When a woman gets a vision of what she could be and how she can truly be a help to her husband, then all the other, it's time to become a real helper. I'm not talking about getting a job. When a woman goes home and starts working for another person or company, she becomes someone else's helper. That is a dead end and leads towards family ruin. Many people don't believe that. When many men and men don't believe that. Don't believe that part. Else's helper. When a woman goes out of the home and starts working for another person or company, she becomes someone else's helper. And I'll give it 8 out of the 10 times she begins to neglect the help that she needs to be doing in her first company, the most important company, the family, her husband, leads towards family ruin. Don't make that dumb mistake. Rather, I'm echoing Proverbs in saying a woman should become industrious if she wants to be of more value than rubies. There is one lady of whom I always think when I speak on this subject. She has many children and still manages to do more than anyone I know. The family runs a farm with milk cows, pigs, sheep, goats, and chickens, so her chores are many and varied. She also brings in an income by watching over, visiting regularly, taking food, cleaning up, etc. for an old housebound man. Her parents are both old, so she also cares for them. She is too busy to go shopping without a specific purpose. So there is no wasting of her husband's substance. She wisely invests her time, money, and resources so that what comes into the family coffers is not dribbled away. She is gracious and kind. She dresses modest, but with simple, inexpensive style. Although she is half my age, she is my living example of Proverbs 31. We can't all be like her, but we can let her show us the way. I know another lady who takes photos, edits them, and sells them on the web while she is making a. She has a household, keeps a household, and has good meals on the table 3 times a day. I know a bunch of ladies that sell a health product and make major money. Most of this is done at home on social networking. All of these women homeschool their children and are teaching their children ways to make an income at home. Do I know or do I hear a pity party coming on? Perhaps you don't know how to do all that hard stuff. Well, these ladies weren't born knowing how to do these things either. They learned how. They sought out ways to save and make money. They sought out ways to save and make money. They were aggressive in the areas where they knew they could develop a product. These ladies are functioning Proverbs 31 ladies that have a personal worth that is far above rubies. Man, just this week, a young wife really learned to spread her Proverbs 31 wings. She lives in a travel trailer on a small piece of land. Her husband is diligently working to make enough money in hopes of building property is a lovely tract of land, excuse me. It has not been used for a long time. The sun shines brightly on the hilltop spot, so it caught the young wife's eyes. Wouldn't it be wonderful to have that great piece of land? There's beautiful pasture and excellent spots for gardening. Such a waste when her children could be running and playing in the sunshine. So she did what any real Proverbs lady should do. She investigated. First, she looked on the internet and found out who owned the property. After finding the name and number of the people who owned it, they lived out of state. She attempted to call them, but alas, the phone number was no longer in service. Instead of accepting defeat, she decided to investigate further. After a search, she found their obituaries listed along with the funeral home that was used by the grandchildren. Not to be deterred, she found the phone number for the funeral home and gave them a call. They put her in touch with the grandson, who had just inherited the property. By God's wonderful blessing, the grandson was hoping to quickly sell the property. Within 2 weeks, the young couple made a deal. And 2 months later, for as long as this young bride lives, she will feel a warm glow of joy every time the memory of this event comes to mind. The success will give that she can really bless her family. It will to see other possibilities, and it will cause her to want to use her time and resources aggressively. Her husband will find satisfaction in the memory that his woman, his very own little lady, found the deal of a lifetime, blessing their family with a great piece of property at a low price. Do you get the idea? There is a young mama in our community who has just started studying how to make cosmetics from naturals. Shiny future coming on. Remember, the wise woman considers a field, thinks about the possible business venture, and weighs the ups and downs before stepping into something that might not be productive. A wise woman knows that it takes time, hard work, and a great deal of knowledge and resources for a business to grow into a money-making industry. You will read a list on the next page that gives you some scriptural ideas. These ideas come straight from Proverbs 31. Your business ideas don't need to be big. I know one young wife who sews children's costumes to bring in extra cash. Social media allows her to display her finished costumes for free to a wide audience. She gets orders from all over the country. I know of one young pregnant mama who babysits and helps homeschool other people's children. She is highly esteemed, and the extra income allows her husband more time with their children. Many wives have a desire to get involved in a ministry of some kind. There is a place for that, but God gives direction on the matter, reminding us of our priorities. Our first and foremost calling as wives and mothers is to please our husband by cooking. Let me mark that. Our first and foremost calling as wives and mothers is to please our husbands by cooking, cleaning, and teaching our children. I give them ideas on how they can minister. I tell them how to win the lost, teach children evangelism, help in the pro-life movement, get involved in stopping the sex trafficking industry, or helping a missionary family homeschool their children, etc. My favorite ministry is to become a missionary. wwimissionaries.org. You simply put ads on Facebook and other social media, offering free downloads of the Good and Evil book in one of 44 languages. Ads are easily pulled off our site in any of these languages. One lady wrote and told us she put on an ad on Facebook in the Urdu language, spoken in India. The ad ran about 3 months, and an ad like hers might cost $100. She had a small blog address at the bottom of her ad. Through this one outreach, she had over 60,000 people on her blog discussing the Bible. She has no idea what they are saying, as it is all in Urdu language. This lady will be a very productive wife because right now she is a very industrious single gal. Single women should broaden their vision and spend their youth as servants of God. 1 Corinthians chapter 7, verse 34 says, this is a difference also between a wife and a virgin. The unmarried woman careth for the things of the Lord, that she may be holy both in body and in spirit. But she that is married careth for the things of the world, how she may please her husband. This is not to say a married woman can't make an eternal difference. What about you? What can you do? Possibilities are limitless. Don't let a day pass. You're not something that you be a productive, industrious helpmeet. A good woman is not a fool.